In studio, we got Ray Burris. Ray, it is great to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Elise.
being here. You know, we're going to talk some pitching, obviously, right? 15
Yes.
years in the Bigs, 7 with the Cubs. Coming off an outing like last night, can you highlight? I was going to ask, have you ever had an outing like that? What do you do to like come back? And you were describing for me.
Yes.
Oh yeah, there have been days like that. So go through the process. You go out there. It's not your best day, and what you do after that.
What you do after that is evaluate what you did good in that outing, what you didn't do good. Now, a bad outing, there's not a lot that you do good in, but there are some things that you can take away, in my opinion. And you try to figure out, strikes come from your delivery. If your delivery is not right, you're not throwing strikes on a consistent basis. So I was very big into my mechanics. From a standpoint of, I took ballet for 20 weeks.
Really?
When I lived in Chicago. Yes, ma'am.
Was that on purpose?
That was on purpose, to understand how my body works in an open space going down a slope. I had to understand what and how I control my body. So ballet helped me understand how to stretch, how to control my movement down the slope. I could go down the slope in slow motion to feel what I'm using in my rotation and in my mechanics. Then I was big in yoga, which helped me to stretch. Because I'm 6'5", I got a lot of body going down that slope. I need to control it because your enemy on the pitcher's mound is gravity. And if you're going down that slope on the front side of your body, you're not going to throw a lot of strikes.
Wait, so what made you start ballet? Because I was mentioning, you referenced the outing when we were talking off camera. You had 8 walks in a row.
Yes,
was it
ma'am.
like after an outing like that you're like, I gotta do
You're like, I'm just gonna go do some yoga.
Well, you know, when I said earlier, we were great compensators. I had to compensate. I had to find out what I was doing wrong. Well, I had some pitching coaches that helped me understand little things. Mike Rourke, Barney Schultz, when I first got to the big leagues. But there was things that I learned as I went along from my teammates, Fergie Jenkins, Mel Pappas, Bert Hooten, Rick Russell. So I had to learn what my delivery was. You know, I was compared to Fergie when I got to the big leagues, you know, because I was tall like Fergie, all legs, arms, but I wasn't Fergie. I had to be me. So I had to find out who I was, right? And you know how that goes.
Yeah.
Your delivery is who you are, and how can I repeat that on a regular basis? So ballet helped me to understand how my body needed to be controlled by me. Not by the gravity.
And baseball is so mental. We were talking about that often. And it's cool to see Presley coming in and being the first guy here because we really do care. You care how you do, so you're trying to figure out what can be next. So, and in talking to you a little bit, so Ben Brown's starting. It seems like you've had some interaction with him. You were a starter and a reliever. He's been a reliever and then now a starter. Have you talked to him at all? Like, what's your take to be able to go from now being a reliever to a starter? Just any hints for him to go out there and what he needs to do?
I haven't talked to him in regard to that. I did visit with him during the convention, and I talked to him. And I asked him, what is your goal for this year? That was the only thing I asked him. I said, whatever your goal is, go for it. And then I found out in spring training he was going to be inserted into the rotation. So I haven't talked to him since then. I did relay a message to him when he won his second game and how well he went. The thing he's got to understand today, trust what you do best and do it. Pitch inside, keep the ball down, and pitch to contact early and often. Don't try to get too head on the hog, because from going from bullpen to starter, you have to learn how to discipline yourself to not get too high on the hog. Coming in as a reliever, you can let it all out. Now you got to pace yourself. When do I let it eat? When do I don't let it eat? When do I come inside? You got to pitch inside. That's the biggest thing in Wrigley Field. That was the one thing I learned pitching in this ballpark because it's hard hitting in this ballpark. Harder than people realize. Because guys come in here and they want to change their swing, which is great for me. When you're trying to get that, you got to get that lift. I'm pitching down there. You got to go down there and get it. So I learned that from Billy Williams, Fergie Jenkins, Ron Santo helped me to understand, hey, I had a lot of movement, Rhino. I didn't worry about placement, even though I could. But I had a lot of movement, let my movement do the talking.
And I love that pitch to contact, because what's that do? It helps you keep your pitch count low, and then you can go deeper into the ball games, which these guys need to do.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, today, if I'm thinking 7 innings. If I get to the 7th inning and the score is 9-2, I'm going the other 2.
Yeah.
That was my mentality. So once I accomplished that, that was a goal. Minimize my walks, minimize pitching behind in the count, maximize pitching ahead in the count, maximize pitching early in the count. So my analytics was make them hit it within the first 3 pitches you throw to them. Get 3 outs with 15 pitches or less. I'm in the 5th inning if I do that.
Yeah.
That was my analytics.
Yeah.
I mean, I had my
Makes sense
own.
to me.
So, you know, I pitched a game here in Wrigley Field. I threw 81 pitches in 9 innings, complete game.
Wow.
4 days later, I come back, I throw 83 in a 9-inning ball game. I mean, the umpires were telling me to slow down.
Yeah.
Ray, you got 2 minutes and 2 seconds. No, this ain't the dating game.
We don't need to get to know you.
You don't need to get to know
want
that.
to pitch.
I want to pitch. Give me the ball. Let's go.
So we were actually just talking about this with Bruce when it comes, because Ben Brown, the conversation committee, does he need to add a pitch? What's your take on guys coming out today? Like, can you have 2 really good pitches and be successful?
You can have 2 really good pitches and change speeds on those 2 really good pitches. You can still use the 3rd pitch when it doesn't put you behind in the count. Because you want to pitch ahead in the count, even or ahead in the count, then you stand on top of the hitter, and that puts the hitter to the disadvantage, in my opinion. So I always try to stay ahead in the count. I had a pitching coach one time come out to the mound and tell me to throw more balls.
Why?
Because I was throwing too many strikes.
Like 2 in the zone, yeah.
It was 2 in the zone, but my ball was moving. I'm getting hitters out.
So did you do it?
No.
Did it work out?
No. Come on.
Okay, well, there you go. Lesson learned. That's I know.
Ladies, I got to the big leagues after 2 months in the minor leagues throwing strikes.
Fair point, absolutely.
Thank you.
Ben Brown was saying he needs to attack. That's what he was saying.
He just got to attack. Trust his stuff and attack. And don't be afraid of what's going to happen. Hitting is the hardest thing to do in our sport. It's the hardest thing to do. You're trying to hit a round object with a round object square.
That's always told.
It's hard. So trust that. But trust your stuff. Now, you respect that hitter. If Rhino is got 15 home runs right now, we're not even in the middle of May.
Man, I would love 15.
But I'm going to respect him, but I'm not going to be afraid of him. I'm coming at you. Show me what you got, because I'm going to show you what I got. That's the one-on-one confrontation. That's what made me enjoy the game of baseball, that competitive nature.
Right, we can still see it. I think you're ready to go out there.
I'm telling
you're ready to suit up.
I can go down that slope. I can't get. I won't walk 8 guys either. Lisa.
You're throwing strikes. We
I'm
know
throwing
that.
strikes. I can keep it down.
Right.
I don't know, Rhino. I may have to walk him, because he hunting that
Respect
fastball.
him. Yeah.
But he's just gotta. If he tries to use a pitch that he hasn't worked on, he don't feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
I wouldn't throw
Not
it.
now.